our retro review, we're talking about Evil Dead 2. So why are we talking about Evil Dead 2 today? Well, first of all, it's October, my favorite month because of Halloween. We got coming up, getting ready, gonna watch all the scary movies this month, get in the spirit. So we're gonna get started by talking about one of my favorite scary movies. Man, there's just something about the Evil Dead trilogy that just really does it for me. I guess we're called Deadites. I don't know, what are Evil Dead people called? Deadites or something? I don't know. What I do know is that this film is amazing. It is amazing. Bruce Campbell was one of my biggest crushes in high school. Like huge. I have proof. I have proof. One night, my mom was nice enough to let me to drive up to Nashville to go to Bruce Campbell's book signing for his autobiography, If Chins Could Kill, The Confessions of a B-Movie Actor. And I got the man himself to sign my book, and there's a picture of me looking lovingly at Bruce Campbell. Yeah, I was a teenage comic book girl. It's true. I think he was a little freaked out, though, because he asked me how old I was, and I said I was in high school, and then he was like, whoa, don't talk to me then. So that was fun. Before we get started, how about these production values, guys? This is YouTube. You don't deserve this. We got a skeleton over here. We got a skeleton. And a fog machine. Evil Dead 2. This movie is near and dear to my heart. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's so good. It's a part of a trilogy of movies directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. These are kind of cult B-movie classics. There's a lot of people who are super into the Evil Dead stuff, me being one of them. And you have the first one, Evil Dead, which is more scary with a little bit of funny in it. Evil Dead 2, which is the perfect balance, the perfect mix of both scary and funny. And then you have Army of Darkness, which is more of a comedy adventure with a little bit of horror in it. And I think that Evil Dead 2 for me is my favorite. If I had to pick one out of the trilogy, I would go with Evil Dead 2. And caution, our retro reviews are spoiler full. We're going to be talking about the movie in depth, a lot of fun facts, things like that. So if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Go rent it from Amazon Prime or Hulu or Vudu or whatever the fuck. Before we get into our review, I just have to talk about Space Wolf's new Evil Dead poster that he came out with. Oh my gosh, I think that this might be my favorite poster of his so far. If you're a fan of the series, you'll notice that the image is of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, which starts off the whole mess in the Evil Dead series. It all comes back to this book every time. And I love this poster. This is so cool. And if you want your own, you can go to spacewolflimited.com and use the promo code CBG19 from now until October 15th to receive 25% off, which equates to $50 off one of these bad boys, all right? It's a chunk of change. And Space Wolf will also be attending the New York Comic Con at booth 327, so you can go meet him October 9th through the 12th at the Javits Center. So if you're gonna be there, definitely go check it out. They have 4 original pieces that they're gonna have like just for the convention, that it's like, they're really super hot. He's shown me all the designs. They're like super sexy. So definitely go check them out at New York Comic Con, and check them out online if you're not. And don't forget, Space Wolf Limited designs are only limited to 50, and that's it. So once these are sold, they're gone forever. Even if you email him and ask him when you're gonna make another one, he's never gonna make another one, okay? He's never gonna make another one. So if you don't get this now, you're fucked. You're fucked. So you better get on there, all right? SpaceWolfLimited.com. It's a fucking piece of wood. Fun fact, this movie came out with no rating through the Rosebud Company here, which was a fake dummy company, so they could get away with it because they knew that they were going to get an X rating no matter what. They weren't going to get an R, and that would be like the death of your film, you know, because no one's going to play it. So instead of having Dino De Laurentiis put it out, they made this fake company so they could put it out unrated. So that's why there's a Rosebud Company. It's a total front, it's a total fake, just so they could get the movie out into theaters without a rating and without getting Dino De Laurentiis in trouble. And that's how intense this movie is. I mean, if you think about it, if you watch this movie now, you would not suspect that this is an X-rated movie. In fact, it was banned in the UK as well. It was one of their video nasties that you weren't supposed to be able to see. Part of it's the tree rape stuff. One of the reasons I feel like this film has such staying power is because of all the really fun practical effects that they have going on in it. This film came out in 1987. It was pre-CGI, and it's got a lot of really fun things going on. And even the effects that don't quite hold up, like some of the stop motion stuff doesn't hold up, but it's still charming, you know? It's still really, really cute. And so I give it a pass. Another testament to the staying power of Evil Dead 2 is I heard that a film school did an entire class deconstructing this movie for an entire semester. And I'm so jealous because I would totally take that class. And I would ace it. So far in the movie, Ash has brought his girlfriend Linda to a cabin in the woods for a romantic getaway. And while they're there, they discover these recordings of a man who is reciting the incantations from the Book of the Dead that he excavated from somewheres, from some Kandarian castle. So upon doing that, the evil within the woods is unleashed and immediately takes Ash's girlfriend. What a bummer. Dude just can't get a break. Another interesting thing about this film is that it inspired filmmaker Peter Jackson. He has said in an interview that he saw Evil Dead 2 and it just like really inspired him because he was like, I can do that. Like, I can do what these guys are doing. It's like you just really have to appreciate this film with the fact that like this isn't digitally done. He's on a machine that turns him around, and they had to find a stretch of road that was like completely straight for like a mile so they could get those few seconds for this movie. I mean, it's like they had people like hitting him with branches, and he was like taking all this abuse and being flipped over like over and over again. It took him like a whole day to shoot just that scene. And I really appreciate that. I think that's so great. It's little things like that that really make this such a special movie. So now we have Ash trying to get the fuck out of Dodge after his girlfriend's been killed and he's been possessed and unpossessed and he's had a hell of a night. And now we see that the bridge is out, and I love the detail that it looks like a little hand that's curled up, you know? And they do like a little shot of the canyon. Another Sam Raimi fun fact is, if you notice Ash's car, it is a 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88, which is in like every single one of Sam Raimi's movies, just about. When he can sneak it in there, he does. And I read in Bruce Campbell's autobiography that they've all been trying to figure out why Sam Raimi just has this car in all his movies. And like his theory is that Sam Raimi lost his virginity in that car, and that's why. That's his theory, because these guys have been friends since like high school. Like they grew up together in Michigan, and like they really go back quite a long ways. If you notice, in Spider-Man, Uncle Ben's car is the Delta 88. So just keep an eye out for it. You'll see it. And if you didn't know, Sam Raimi has gone on to have quite a career after working on the Evil Dead films. He's done some really cool stuff. I really like Darkman, although like that one was like the really big point. Like that was like his first big film. But obviously he went on to go do things like Spider-Man, The Quick and the Dead, all sorts of good movies. I love Sam Raimi. Spider-Man 3, we should probably talk about that too. It's not his fault. Don't get mad at Sam Raimi for Spider-Man 3, all right? The studio ruined that, so let's just get that straight. But the thing that I love about Sam Raimi and his directing is that, you know, he has such a style, and you can tell that he really like knows what he wants to do, and he's always making these like Three Stooges gags all the time. Like there's tons of them in this movie. Like he just loves the Three Stooges, and it's so cute that he has this love for them and their corny humor, and he just like always puts it in all of his films wherever he can. I love it. It's even funny too. There's an Evil Dead 2 moment in Spider-Man 2 where Doc Ock is in the surgery room, and then there's like, you know, that's like the best scene in Spider-Man 2, where like all the tentacles are alive and like killing all the doctors when they're trying to get him off of them. Oh my god, that's like such an Evil Dead moment. I love it. So Ash is stranded. He cannot get out of here. He's stuck with this evil in the woods. And here's a really cool shot coming up, and it's pretty impressive. It is one continuous shot through this whole house, and you've totally got to appreciate that. Like, I love seeing big continuous shots, you know? Everything nowadays is just smash cut this, smash cut that, and it's just like, man, just hold the camera for a minute, let someone act, let there be a big continuous shot going on, you know? I don't need to be cut every 2 seconds, you know? It's fucking bothers me. Love seeing stuff like this. Dun dun dun. Plot update. The daughter of the man who had brought the Necronomicon back to his cabin that Ash is currently stranded at finally has flown in. She's gonna go visit her dad with the missing pages, and her and her boyfriend are just in for a great weekend. Here's a really great stop motion animation sequence of Ash's girlfriend resurrecting from the dead, dancing around just to drive him fucking crazy, you know, like he doesn't have it hard enough, you know, the dead eight's gotta fuck with him, you know. My favorite part at the end of this scene is where she leaps off into the forest and she's like, ah! It's like the cutest thing you've ever seen. There it is, the bite. It's gonna come into play later. It's very important that you see that his hand gets bitten by his ex-girlfriend's evil, resurrected, dead, severed head. Also in this scene, if you notice, there's a Freddy glove over the door there, and that is part of a weird long-running joke that's been going on within these films. So originally, Wes Craven was making The Hills Have Eyes, and in The Hills Have Eyes, there's a scene where there's a ripped Jaws poster in the background saying, "Fuck you, Jaws, we're gonna be the best horror movie of the summer." Obviously, that did not occur. So Sam Raimi made a joke by having a Hills Have Eyes poster ripped in the corner of Evil Dead. So what Wes Craven did was have Nancy watching Evil Dead in his Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So then Sam Raimi put a Nightmare on Elm Street glove over the workshed door in this movie. So that's a little cute director's tete-a-tete. Another thing that I love in this movie is that Ash is like such an idiot, but then so are the Deadites. Like, she's like accidentally chainsawing her own self in half, which is like super fucked. Like, I love it. And if you notice, the blood that comes out of it is black, and that's because they were trying to avoid that X rating. They were trying to go for the R rating by turning all the blood different colors. There's a lot more of that later on too. You'll see when there's all the blood coming out of the walls. It's not red most of the time, and that's why. Speaking of the MPAA, if you're interested in learning more about how stupid our movie rating system is, you should check out the documentary, This Film Has Not Yet Been Rated. It's very interesting. You got a lot of industry insiders talking about just how ridiculous this censorship organization is. So as of now, Ash has had to kill his girlfriend 2 times. He's still stuck out in the woods. He's having a hard time. He's kind of breaking. He's kind of cracking up a little bit, trying to talk to himself in the mirror, figure it all out. But just things are just getting worse and worse for him by the minute. And I love this practical shot. They had a double right there stand in for him. And then they had kind of an evil Ash makeup that they put on just to like make his features a little more sharp. That's such a beautiful, nice little touch there. I love that. And in this scene, Ash's hand has gone bad. Remember when his girlfriend Linda bit him? Well, now his hand's possessed, and that totally sucks. And this is some of the best physical comedic acting in the whole movie. Like, he does such a good job with this evil hand bit. It's so good. And fun fact, they got the idea to do this skidding around evil hand from a short film that one of the producers had made when they were younger called Attack of the Helping Hand, where they had the little hamburger helper hand and it had gone bad and was like attacking people and being evil. That's where they got the idea, and I'm so glad that they did this because it's just too good. I love that Bruce Campbell had to smash all these plates over his head. It's like you wonder how many takes this took and how many plates he had to smash at the end of the day, you know? But it's so great. He really just went for it. I love that the hand is dragging him towards that cleaver. I love it. It's so funny. I love the little sounds too that they make. I love that the hand is like, it's so cute. Not so fast. Hand, evil hand. So Ash has got to cut his own evil hand off. Everybody hates that, but it's better to just rip the Band-Aid off. Don't be shy about it. You got to get rid of that evil hand. Because then it could affect the rest of your body, and you'll have a whole evil arm, and then before you know it, you're evil. Just how it works. Fun fact, Evil Dead 2 was originally supposed to have him, like, half of the movie be in medieval times, but because of the budgetary restrictions, they weren't able to do that. So they ended up shelving that idea until they did Army of Darkness, where the whole movie he's set in, like, a medieval times situation. So the interiors of the cabin were shot in a high school gymnasium where they built a set in there. And it was in the summertime when the students weren't in school. And apparently they use a lot of blood in this movie, all right? And a lot of it's made out of Karo syrup, which is like this sugary stuff. And it attracts flies like crazy, all right? And they just had such a fly problem. And it was like super hot too. Like it was like, they couldn't keep those flies away in that shoot. Ugh. I'm sure that was a hell of a shoot that day. There was a lot of cleanup going on. This is my favorite scene of the movie where Ash is going super nuts and everything in the house is laughing at him and has turned super evil, and he's just gotten to a point where, if you can't beat him, join him, he just starts laughing with him, and it's just so good. That guy's the best. That gooseneck lamp is the best. The producer came up with that. He was doing a Popeye impression like while they were in the office, and they thought that was so funny that they decided to stick it in the movie, and I'm so glad that they did. I am so glad that they did. I feel like this a lot of times. I can relate to this. So at this point in the movie, Annie has showed up to the cabin with her boyfriend and her hillbilly guides, and what they find inside is a crazy man who looks like he's cut off his own hand, covered in blood, shooting at them outside the door. So obviously they think Ash is just out of his mind, murderer type. So they just throw him in the basement, and they start playing her dad's recorder and hearing more of the story of what happened. Finds out that his wife Henrietta he had killed because she'd been possessed by the evil in the forest, and that he had to bury her in the cellar where Ash is now being held captive.
Once in my fruit cellar.
That is my favorite line in the movie, hands down. Someone's in my fruit cellar. Anytime I have a chance to use it in real life, I do. And Ash's scream when she pops up out of the ground is so good. It's just so funny. This is just one of my favorite parts. This is such a good scene. And Henrietta is played by Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's little brother. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but this was his first big role in the movies. He's gone on to do a lot of other things since then, but this was such a gnarly role to play because he is in a full suit, a full foam, like latex suit. It is so hot in that thing. There are times in the movie where you can see the sweat just pouring out of it. It even ripped at one point, and one time when Henrietta's flying up in the air, you can see this big gaping hole in the ass crotch area where it just split open, but there was nothing they could do about it, so they just had to roll with it. There's also a great practical effect coming up where they smash Henrietta's head, the eyeball flies out into Bobby Joe's mouth. And how they did that was they had it in her mouth and filmed it in reverse. So she kind of had to act in reverse, which she has to do later on when they do the tree scene with her as well. But I think it turned out really well. That's one of those Three Stooges jokes I was telling you guys about. Like, that's such a Three Stooges thing where the eyeball flies. Like, that's so Sam Raimi. Originally, Sam Raimi didn't even want to do Evil Dead 2, but Ivan Shapiro convinced him that he should do it and that they should pitch it. And they were having a really hard time finding funding for Evil Dead 2 until Stephen King came along and saved the day. There's the Stephen King connection here. And it even goes back to Evil Dead 1, where Stephen King saw the first one at the Cannes Film Festival, and he wrote this amazing review for it, calling it one of like the best, most original horror films he's seen, and it's like the best horror movie of the year. And because Stephen King wrote such a glowing review of it, the movie found distribution and became a cult hit. So when Stephen King heard that they were trying to make Evil Dead 2, he was at the time also making Maximum Overdrive. And so he was talking to Dino De Laurentiis and was like, dude, you should totally help them find funding and make Evil Dead 2 with these guys, because those guys are awesome. So, thanks, Stephen King. In this scene, after being forced out into the woods by old Duder, Ash gets possessed again, because you know if you get possessed one time, it's easier for them to get back into you. That's just how it works. So, he's possessed again, super evil. He's got these sclera lenses in. He can't see shit, by the way, in those things. You can't see nothing, all right? Just try have to take a piss during that scene, you know? It's just like, it's terrible. You can't do anything. You're just fumbling around. He talks about that in his book. Talks about having sclera lenses and monster fingers and having to try to take a piss, and it's just ridiculous. In this scene, Jake, after getting stabbed accidentally by Annie, is being dragged into the cellar by Henrietta. And fun fact, the actor almost drowned doing this because, as you're about to see, there's just tons of blood that just starts coming out of there. And he's really upside down in there. So when they let all that blood go, it like went right up his nose, and he was just like apparently it was super gnarly. This whole cellar, like, they have tons of problems. Like, people like fall on their heads and shit, and like all sorts of stuff. The cellar was a beast on set, apparently. A lot of... OSHA would not be happy about that guy. You know what I'm saying? In this scene, we have Ash finally building his super awesome chainsaw hand replacement. Oh, it's so great. And it's got one of the best, most iconic lines in the series, where he says...
Groovy.
That's like, I think that's like such a big reason why this movie is just so memorable, is because Ash is just such a good character. He's such a dork. Like, who would say groovy? Like that, like back in 1987, that word was not cool anymore. Like, that's like a 70s thing, you know? He's such a dork. And that's why he's like so cute and lovable, you know?
Nosferatus, Halamimnon, Kanda.
In this scene, they have read the passages to make the evil corporeal. They've brought it back, and they've made it into an entity, and now it's all culminating so then they can defeat it. There it is. There he is, the evil in its purest form. And I love this effect where they had a stop motion little gray patch going on him because he's so fucking scared when he sees this thing. That's such a stupid little thing, but I just so love it. And you can even notice in the background, the flowers wilt too when they see the evil. It's so good. It's such a wonderful little moment. By the way, fun fact, Necronomicon was borrowed from H.P. Lovecraft. That's where they got the name from, obviously. From the man who came up with that shit in the first place. Got that Cthulhu connection. So now the portal has been opened. The evil is being sucked out and taken away and banished from our world. But that's the tricky thing about portals, is how do you stop them? How do you stop a portal? Chick's dead. Who knows what's gonna go on? So now we have Ash, whose bad day has gotten even worse. He's getting sucked through that portal in the medieval times, where he's not even gonna have toilet paper anymore, and things just keep getting worse and worse for our lovable idiot Ash. His full name is Ashley, by the way. He shortened it to Ash to make himself sound cooler, you know. Ashley used to be a girl or boy name. It used to be a boy's name, in fact. Somehow it turned into a girl's name. I don't know when that happened. Bruce Campbell had to jump off a ladder for that, as he did his own stunt there. He said it hurt and was not fun. And now the movie leads you to the third movie, Army of Darkness, which takes place in this timeline. It's such a great setup.
Hail he who has come from the skies to deliver us from the terrors of the Deadites!
Fun fact, here is the director himself, Sam Raimi, making an appearance. How could you not make an appearance in your own film? I would. I'd like to give a big shout out to the 25-year anniversary edition Blu-ray of Evil Dead 2. This is obviously a really sharp quality Blu-ray. It looks really great, but not only that, this has really awesome special features in it. Like, anything you ever wanted to know about this movie, like, there's just tons of special features about every aspect of this movie. Really great commentaries. I highly recommend it. So that's it for our Evil Dead 2 retro review. There's so much to talk about here. I didn't even go into like half the fun facts that are going on in this movie. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite fun facts of this movie are, because there are plenty to go around. And now for some Comic Book Girl 19 show news and updates. This video is the final video of our season of Comic Book Girl 19 show. During our off season, we will be putting calendar update videos showing you what we're working on with the calendar. So even though this is the last regular episode of the season, it's not the last thing we're putting on YouTube. So we're gonna have a lot of really cool videos showing you all the weird things that we're working on. We are working day and night on our calendar right now, trying to get that ready for November. It's gonna be released in November. So if you're wondering when you can buy it, it'll be then. We'll give you some updates and let you know when we have everything all figured out. We're still getting all the details ready for you. And then after we're done with our calendar, we are going to be gearing up to work on a new show. We're really excited about it. We're gonna do some really cool stuff pretty soon. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm gonna keep it vague for now. We'll do a bigger announcement later. But for now, we're gonna be doing an epic review documentary series, super in-depth 40-minute docu-reviews about movies and comics. So it's what we've been doing, just on a more hardcore level. See, Comic Book Girl 19 show is pivoting, all right? We're pivoting. We want to become like the HBO of YouTube. We want to have the premium content, the HBO of the internet. That's what we're trying to do. It's gonna be really awesome. And the deal is, with our new show coming up, it's gonna take a little bit more time for us to make one, because it's very, very in-depth, very involved. It's gonna be really intense, over-the-top production values, all right? And that's the thing, that's the main thing that I wanna talk to you about, is that we here in Team 19, you know, we've been doing the show for about 2 years now. We've done a few epic reviews, and we just really love doing those. We really love doing something that's really above and beyond, and something that nobody else is doing. I mean, like, this is something completely new and unique to us that we really enjoy doing, and we want to do more of that. And the problem with YouTube is that, unfortunately, it is all about quantity and not quality. And that's just not what we're in this for. Like, I'm not here to just crank out crappy webcam videos of me talking about what I ate for lunch today. Like, that's just not what I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in doing some crazy research stuff and just really getting into the nitty-gritty and talking about some themes and just tons of research. Any excuse to do research. Like, and that's what this is gonna be. It's gonna be just higher production values than we've even had so far, trying to push the envelope, make ourselves better, because that's another thing. We want to get better, okay? We don't want to just do the same things over and over and over again, you know, okay? But the thing is like, I don't want to be on that hamster wheel, okay? That's just not my deal. It's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it for quality, not quantity. See, there's a triangle. This is something that a lot of people don't understand here. All right, and this is something that helped me a lot. When I saw this triangle, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. So you got the triangle. On one side, you have faster, you have better, and then you have cheaper, right? You can only have 2 of those 3 sides of the triangle. You can't have all 3, all right? So you can have a show that's better and cheaper, but it's gonna come out not fast, all right? That's just not how it works. You cannot have all 3. And you guys need to figure that out. You can have faster and better, but that's gonna be expensive, all right? You can have cheaper and better, but that's gonna take a lot of time. Or you can have cheaper and faster, and it's gonna be shit quality and it's gonna fall apart on you, okay? So that's how life works. People, we're consumers. We're a nation of consumers. We've been taught to consume things, and we're used to getting really good stuff right now, whenever we want it. And the thing is like, I'm not a big corporation. You know, corporations are good at that shit, okay? They can get you something cheaper, and they can get you something that's like faster, and you'll get it, and you'll have it, but they suck. All right, they suck, and they're gonna fuck you over, and they're gonna destroy the environment, the whole world, and just like be greedy and make us all into slaves. Okay, or you have us, you know, where we're not like a corporation. We can't get to you faster and cheaper, but we can get you better shit, and it doesn't cost anything because it's on YouTube, except for the stuff that we sell, you know, and even then it's $2 fucking. So give me a break. I don't know. Just the main point is, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Fuck you. Don't tell me what I should do with my fucking show. Go make your own show. You're an asshole. Random Comic Book Girl 19 approved documentary you should check out on Netflix called Print the Legend, and it's all about the crazy, turgid world of 3D printing entrepreneurs. Sounds weird. It's really interesting. I felt like, I really related to a lot of the stuff that those guys were having to deal with. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.